Hi, I'm Feroz Khan, and welcome to Drag and Drop Low Code Unplugged, the podcast where we explore the game changing impact of low code in software development. Join me in insightful conversations with IT leaders and passionate low code enthusiasts who are at the forefront of this digital evolution. Together, we'll explore how early adoption of low code is giving businesses a competitive edge on a global scale. We'll discuss its impact on software development, dissect its role in transforming businesses, and uncover the ways in which it's reshaping career trajectories. So whether you're a seasoned IT professional or a curious enthusiast, be sure to tune in as we share success stories and unravel the mysteries of low code. Subscribe now and stay tuned for a front row seat to the revolution that's shaping the future of technology. So let's go. Hi Elliot, how are you?
Hey, Feroz, I'm doing well, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Appreciate you taking the time to be a guest.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited and I'm honored in a way. I think you've had some really cool guests, so I'll try to live up to the standard, do the best I can, but this is exciting stuff. Thanks for having me.
No problem. And who would have known? We only met kind of over a month ago in Vegas, and now we're talking on the podcast, which is really
I was
cool.
going to say a little bit of a different dynamic when we first met and we're talking
Yeah,
shop out there in Vegas.
yeah,
But, excited and maybe we could chat again at an event like that sometime. That was a lot
yeah,
of fun.
definitely. Well, it'd be good to start with, kind of a bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, a bit of your background.
Yeah, sure. So for me personally, name's Eliot Cohen. I'm here in the Boston area. In fact, I'm in our OutSystems Boston office today. I live locally. I have three little kids. They keep me really busy outside of work. So it's like that
Yeah,
juggling act,
yeah,
busy with the whole OutSystems professional role, and then I got my dad duties at home. So
yeah.
that keeps me happy. Like I said, Boston native, born and raised. Super excited about the Celtics, Banner 18.
Ah,
So
yeah, cool. Yeah,
good win for us recently. And yeah, I mean, I've been here with my kids for a while. We're raising them in the city. I sit on a little nonprofit board here locally, so member of the Boston community, which I take a lot of pride in. And it's nice that I'm here in Boston and we have that North American Boston headquarters. So I feel very, attached to this office, and it's really great. I walk into the office in the
oh,
morning
amazing.
and
That's
stuff.
really cool.
So yeah, that's me personally. And like I said at the onset, I'm psyched to be here on the podcast. If I could maybe just, position how I'm gonna, interact here, because there are three takeaways I want to convey to the audience. And I'll take the opportunity now to
Yeah,
put those on
go
the
for it.
table. Yeah, great. So I want to make sure that I cover kind of the transformational potential of OutSystems, and I won't go too deep there because others have more of the nuts and bolts, and I'll explain
Sure.
what I mean there, given my background. But I definitely, from my perspective, want to explain how I see the transformational potential of OutSystems being a factor, and want to convey some of that. I definitely want to talk about my personal experience with OutSystems, given my role and the impact that it's had on the work that I do, and then tie it all together with some success stories and real world applications. So within our discussion, I'm going to try to hit on those. But if you say,
Yeah,
hey,
definitely.
you wanted to tell me about the impact,
Yeah,
make sure that I cover that. All right. Because
yeah,
that's going to
definitely.
help you and help the audience, I hope.
Amazing. And we'll definitely touch on that. It'd be good to kind of, start with, you obviously had a career before OutSystems. So it'd be good to go back and understand a bit about kind of where it started before it led to, you working for OutSystems.
Yeah. And I think that'll set the stage well. So, happy to do that. So for me, if we rewind all the way back to kind of my college education, I actually have a degree in business administration. So specifically business logistics and supply chain management. So my education is more in, getting product out into the hands of the customer and what goes into that, from manufacturing and logistics, tying everything together to get product and service out into the market. I went to a school called Northeastern University in Boston, and the great thing about Northeastern is undergrads do experiential learning. So basically internships, right?
Nice,
And
yeah.
so while I was an undergrad, I did two internships in technology roles. The third one was the second of those two technology internships was on the help desk at a private equity company in Boston. So I was doing hardware and software
Yeah.
troubleshooting, working on AV equipment. I was in the network closet. So I was really kind of cutting my teeth on, just kind of the base layer of technology and how it helps an organization run. So that was great exposure early on in my career to kind of, just information technology is kind of a support structure for organizations. And I was there not only as an intern, but I actually parlayed that into a full-time gig as my first position, right? And so I was there working as a help desk engineer. And that was a really cool first experience professionally for me as a young kid coming out into the job market. I always knew that, I kind of wanted to align myself more closely to kind of the business itself. So I started going after business analysts, business systems analyst type of roles. And I got one at a fintech company in the Boston area, actually not far from where I am today.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so I took a role that was more of a hands-on system admin, system analyst type of role, working with enterprise applications. So CRM tools, ERP tools, HRIS and HCM systems, content management systems, data platforms. So more of the systems. So initially it was the hardware and software with the laptops and desktops and networking. And then I transitioned into systems, right? So I was at that fintech company, hands-on keyboard, administration, support stuff with the systems themselves. But I got a lot of exposure to, like I said, customer relationship management, enterprise resource planning, HR systems and the like. And that was great. Really got me good exposure with my hands on the keyboard, but I wanted to move in the direction of technology leadership. And while I was at the company I was at in that systems admin role, I went back to Northeastern actually, and I got an MBA in high-tech leadership. So I was thinking, I want to start to lead some of these teams, right? So the next stop in my career, I took a leadership role leading systems teams. We were really focused on back office systems. But leading a team of engineers and analysts and administrators working on our back office ERP systems, did that for a while, transitioned to more of an IT product management type of role. This was at a cybersecurity company in Boston, public company, spent about 5 years at each of these stops. So got good exposure to the organizations themselves. Made a quick stop into healthcare IT, where I worked on a CRM product management type of role. And while I was there, OutSystems came kind of knocking at my door, and it was an opportunity that was too exciting to pass up. And I've been here for about a year and a half. Here I'm responsible for our business systems, our enterprise applications within our digital team. And I'll talk more about that. But that's kind of the helicopter view. And what I'm trying to kind of convey there is, I come from a business background. I've been able to infuse that education with these technology roles I've had throughout my career, worked with great people. I've learned a lot, and it's been a fun ride. But I'm excited now that I'm at OutSystems to be kind of working with domains and systems and tools that I've experienced in the past, but kind of taking a fresh spin on that I know we're going to talk about throughout the conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
That's me professionally.
Yeah. And, before you started at OutSystems, had you heard of low code or even OutSystems as a business?
So it's funny, a couple of things there. That Gartner event that we were at, where we met in Vegas, I had been to that a couple of times working with other organizations in kind of a learning and development track. And that was, I think, really the first time that I was exposed to low code, right? It was being discussed in the sessions, in the booths and everything else. What is this low code thing? That's kind of interesting. So that was kind of my first exposure to it. Then, while I was at that cybersecurity company that I mentioned, we were standing up an intelligent automation, potentially low code kind of practice and kicking the tires on that strategy. And believe it or not, a salesperson from OutSystems reached out to me while I was there. So this was, 4 years ago, say, 4 years ago, say. And that was my real direct exposure to OutSystems. We went through the start of a sales cycle. He was exposing some of it to us, helping us learn about it. And I was really excited. I was very optimistic, and I'll tell you why. As IT systems leader, you are presented with challenges at all times, right? Whether it's constraints of the systems that you're working on, budget, resourcing, kind of too many things to get through in your backlog, right? Volume of demand, that kind of stuff. And OutSystems was kind of positioned in my mind as a silver bullet or a new way to get things done, different from the tools that you have already in your toolkit. So I was looking for that silver bullet, that new tool in my toolkit to get things done. And it was really exciting, and I was optimistic from the get-go. Turns out I ended up leaving the role that I was in, and so I don't really know how that story unfolded, but that's how it was brought to me originally. And like I said, super optimistic from day one. I was like, hey, this could be really awesome. Turns out that salesperson who was kind of prospecting with us in that previous role several years ago, he's a colleague of mine today. He's still here.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, so I'm in touch with him. But it's funny how the environment is it's a small world, right? And how things tend to come full circle. And just to finish the thought, I was excited and optimistic about it. I felt like I said it could have been a really great tool in my toolkit back then to get through some of the challenges that I was having at the time. And I'm sure that would have been the case, right? Fast forward to where I am now, I'm actually doing some of the things I envisioned we could have done. And so now which was what was a theory then, is proven, and I know that it's possible because I've done it here a little bit. I'll talk to you about some of the success stories and the applications that we've built and delivered here. So
that's
it's
really
cool,
cool.
that full circle story.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's definitely really cool story. And you mentioned your current role. Can you talk us about kind of what you've been brought in to do at OutSystems and your goal?
Totally. So I touched on it, but I'll go a little bit deeper. So I'm responsible for what we call our enterprise applications. And when I use the term enterprise applications, sometimes I'll say business systems or information systems. I'm really talking about our CRM, ERP, HRIS, and HCM systems. So the platforms that our salespeople use to sell the product, our back office finance and accounting folks use to record and report the business, and those types of tools, right? And we have a few of the key core big ones, and I think it's fine to name them. We use Salesforce on the front end, right, for CRM and CPQ, getting kind of deals out the door and managing the customer relationships. And then on the back office side, we use NetSuite, right, to record and report our accounting and revenue, right? And those are kind of big best-in-breed systems. They're very standard for organizations like OutSystems and others that are engaging and selling things, right, and running a business. So I make sure that those platforms are as useful as they can be so that our business can run on them. And I've done that, like I kind of described, at other employers throughout my career. And I'll repeat this narrative over and over again. What's been great about my role at OutSystems is the opportunity to steward those platforms and ensure they're useful, but use OutSystems as a way to extend and enhance and supplement them to make them even better than they could be on their own, right? And this goes back to what I was saying. There's always challenges with these platforms or with technology or processes that run through technology in general, wherever you are. And OutSystems is a great tool to have in your toolkit to solve some of those challenges. And I can talk to you about what I mean there and some examples. But that's my role. Business systems, enterprise applications, making sure they're really useful so the business can thrive on them. And the really cool thing that I'm doing here at OutSystems is infusing OutSystems solutions to make those platforms even better, faster, and stronger.
Yeah. And as someone, you've been there kind of, over a year and a bit now, in your experience, as also someone who kind of, like you said, in your previous roles, you could have used something like OutSystems. How do you feel the platform's kind of changing the landscape for customers, out there?
Yeah, it's the flexibility, right? And the capability to deliver things faster, right? With less resources and less intensive resources. It's the ability to get something off the ground from ideation to MVP really, really quickly, right? And we have small teams working on these solutions. So we're not eating up lots of resources from all over the organization. So if there is a challenge or a problem, we can, deploy or employ OutSystems technology to get something infused into our overall process or technology stack really, really quickly, and do that in a way that's very flexible, and you can come back and change it. That is the biggest benefit, or the way that I see us using OutSystems internally that I feel is repeatable and applicable for other systems leaders or technology leaders or business leaders out there in the marketplace. Because, so often you hear, I have this idea or I have this problem, but to address the problem, it's going to take us a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money, right? And I think some of that you can pull back from when you're using a platform that's as nimble and as easy to use and control as OutSystems, right? I think part of my answer goes to the real thesis statement behind OutSystems, right? Having that declarative visual platform that people can get comfortable with and get something off the ground really, really easily, but then also having the ability to kind of control it in traditional ways. So you can kind of start fresh, start small, and go quickly, but then also refine that solution so that it's applicable. And that makes time to market faster, right? And you're able to adjust and course correct these solutions that you're infusing into your ecosystem. So I think for me, that is how we've used it in my role, and how others can use it to change their landscapes on an ongoing basis.
Yeah. And can you, you said you'd have to kind of go a bit more into detail. Can you talk through kind of, since you've kind of joined, some things you've put in place to kind of get the best out of these platforms?
Yeah, absolutely. And this was what I was excited about, talking about some of our recent wins, right? And we've got a bunch, as you can imagine. Some of them are kind of more near and dear to my heart, and ones that I've worked on intimately. So I'll talk about a couple, and then we can go into more detail about ones that are interesting or you think would be applicable for the audience. But in recent months, we built what I'll basically call a data processing or rules engine that sits in front of our CRM, right? And what that engine allows us to do is take account and contact signaling, right? And apply rules and a layer in extra data points and bring that information into our CRM through the rules engine according to our desires, right? So that means that we're pulling account and contact information through the rules engine based on signals out there in the universe and writing information into our CRM database when and how we want it to be written. And so just to go a little bit deeper there, we've got other systems out in front of our CRM that's talking and looking to see, oh, if Feroz, for example, goes to the OutSystems website, maybe that would signal an intent to bring you in as a contact or a lead into our CRM. But if there's certain things about you that makes it so that we're not quite ready to funnel you in just yet, our rules engine will wait until we have additional attributes or information about you to pull you in at the right time, right? And so what this has allowed us to do is just to keep our database clean, fresh, with the right information, and plummet through our go-to-market motions at the right times. And that is something that lots and lots of organizations would benefit from. And they try to do it in different ways. It's really an integration layer that sits in between upstream systems and capabilities and the CRM database itself. And, those integration layers, they exist out in the marketplace, but they can only get you so far. What our OutSystems app, the rules engine that we've built on OutSystems, allows us to do is to control it all the way. So it's our own unique thing, right? It's not just based on the rules and the signals that are happening out there in the environment or the capabilities of that integration layer. It's our own engine that we control, that we've built, that we can tweak and tinker with to say, if something is happening in a specific region, maybe we'll open up the floodgates a little bit to bring in more collateral based on that region. Or if we're saying, we know that there is a trade show happening and there's going to be lots of volume that, maybe we don't really think is going to be useful, despite signaling to us that we should bring it in. Maybe we'd ratchet it back to say, oh no, that's just noise that's out there, but it's not really going to help us close deals or win deals or prospect with different businesses. So that rules engine, that integration layer that we put between our intent and signaling systems and our CRM database, it's been great. And in a nutshell, what it's allowed us to do is create accounts and contacts and enrich those accounts and contacts in our CRM database and do that on our own terms. And I think if people are out there listening and they're thinking about what I'm saying, they would love to be able to do that. And OutSystems has delivered that for us.
Wow.
awesome win.
Yeah, that's really cool. And is this something that, you're kind of yourself or kind of there's a team at OutSystems that's kind of pitching to customers who already have the platform to try these things out?
I don't exactly know, but I think part of what I'm doing today is some of
Mm,
that,
yeah,
positioning and
yeah,
kind of art of the possible, kind of excitement building. But I think it's something that we should do, quite frankly. And I think over time we will do more of that because, like I said, this capability, this solution that we've built, it overcomes a challenge. It helps, businesses. It helped us, and it could help other businesses overcome a challenge that is so prevalent, right? How do you keep your core systems clean with useful data? How do you
yeah,
feed in the most appropriate and useful data at the right times? Like that, in a nutshell, is an applicable challenge throughout the business
yeah.
ecosystem. And we've overcome that challenge with OutSystems. So, I mean, I think that others would really, benefit from these types of solutions.
Yeah, yeah. And in your opinion, what's kind of, for customers using the platform, what do you think, how's the best way for them to get the best kind of ROI out of the platform? Because obviously it's an investment they make to build, their apps and, whatever they can with it.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on kind of how they can really get the best return?
So I'll answer the question kind of in two ways. Kind of a generic answer, just about the best way, some best practices, right? But then also bring it back to some of the examples that we've done and how we've applied those best practices, and also talk about some of the more future-oriented, exciting stuff that's available in
Mm,
the platform. So first of all, I think that the way to get the best ROI from a platform like OutSystems is to think about the challenges that you have and not just the needs or the wants, or wouldn't it be great if we had this new app or feature or this new way of doing things, but some of the challenges like the one I just mentioned,
yeah,
where it's around data integration or data processing or business processes, the workflows that you want to refine and enhance. Maybe start a little bit small in those ways and think about how could a tool like OutSystems build solutions for you to get over those hurdles. Because again, just speaking from my experience, we're doing that time and again, right? If someone comes to us from our marketing group or from our sales organization, for example, or I could even talk about some examples in the back office finance side of the house. We have OutSystems apps that are helping to deliver business solutions, right? Okay, I want to be alerted of when a opportunity comes in that's for a multinational corporation so that I can kind of swarm on that opportunity. That you could build something like
mm,
that in Salesforce or outside of Salesforce, for example, but you could make it all that much better if you use OutSystems to deliver just a little solution for you, right? So I
mm,
think start with the challenges that maybe feel ancillary or peripheral or kind of like nice to haves. And if you start to deliver those, your whole stack can get that much better. And then you've got, a composable architecture then where you're not so over leveraged on the big platforms, right? You've got differentiators that can help you solve these challenges. OutSystems can do that for you. So you're getting flexibility and diversification, and you're setting up that composable architecture. I really think that is a best practice and the way to get the most from the OutSystems platform. Again, this is from my perspective, sitting as a
yeah,
technology leader who's so focused on these business systems. But for me, that helps to deliver value using a low-code platform like OutSystems.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I think that's a good way to think about it.
yeah. And is there anything else that you've kind of delivered that you're quite kind of proud of, internally that kind of, is helping the business?
Yeah, for sure. And thanks for bringing us back there because I wanted to make sure that we talked about some of the cool stuff that we've done
Mm,
with AI. And I have a great example, particularly around the support experience. So basically, what we've done in recent months is transform our support experience so that if someone has a question or an incident as it relates to the OutSystems platform, they can engage with a chat experience that we built that uses AI so that they can pose their questions and get a response in a conversational way. and it's a really great experience. I encourage you to go out and look at it. It's available out there on the forums, and the results speak for themselves, right? What we've produced with this chat experience is deflection of both service requests and incidents. So we've had a 27% reduction rate in a sample month of support questions, and about a 23% reduction or deflection of incident-related prompts. So what that means is if someone previously had a question or a service request, right, our chat experience is now deflecting that question and allowing the person with the question to self-serve and get to the answer on their own via this chat experience. That's pretty cool, right?
That's very cool, yeah.
What I think is even more impressive is when you think about incidents. So, traditionally when you think of an incident, it means that something is broken or something is wrong or it's not working the way that it's expected to. This AI-infused chat experience is allowing people to write in and say, hey, I'm having this problem. There's this incident as it relates to my OutSystems ecosystem. And the chat experience, the AI chat experience, is giving them the information that they need so that they can go and deal with that incident on their own within their own team. So that means that a support agent at OutSystems is no longer having to deal with that problem, right? So it frees up our team, it frees up their team, and in self-service is always a good outcome when it comes to customer support. And again, right, just to nail down the metrics there, there's about a 23% in a sample month deflection rate when it comes to incidents. I think when I think about that, going back to my ITSM days sitting on a help desk, I wish that I could have had that. If I could have deflected 23% of my incidents, I would have been able to do something else with that time. So that's really cool. And we deliver that with AI on the OutSystems platform. And I think that's really exciting, both for the work that we're doing internally, but also for our customers and for people using OutSystems out there in the universe.
And I guess it's great for you as a business, is obviously we'll touch on this in a bit. AI is the big kind of conversation at the moment. For you to go out with examples of how you yourself have used AI, within your own business, for companies who are looking to obviously adopt AI for their projects.
Yeah. I mean, another example of a win that we deliver with AI is, again, these things don't have to be super kind of complex and broad, right? I think that once you start and you scratch that itch, then they get bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah.
A great example of that is in our development forums, right? We actually are using AI translation capabilities to translate the forums so that you've got more localization in terms of the language in which these forums are written. We started with Japanese, right? We translated 11,000 posts from the language in which they were originally written to Japanese language. And we had a huge surge in developer adoption as soon as that translation happened. We had like 65% more active Japanese users after those forums were translated. And we used AI to deliver those AI translations so it was actually real and natural and not just kind of like a generic translation of sorts, but it could contextualize what was written. And so we started with Japanese, but from there we're going to move on to more and more local languages. And so I think these solutions and the AI capabilities that we're using, they're really exciting, right? But you don't have to boil the ocean. You can start with one specific kind of case study, say, hey, wouldn't it be great if we could translate the forums into Japanese, because we know there's a demand for Japanese developers. We've proven that with the stats. And now we can rinse and repeat and do more localization in terms of the language of these forums and go from there. So again, going back to another question you asked me about how can people get more ROI, I think it's start small, right? And then build upon the successes. And what's great about OutSystems is if you take that approach, you're not kind of locked in. You can be nimble and course correct very quickly, just given the nature of the platform.
Yeah, I think the Japanese thing is definitely, as someone who deals with developers all the time, the English barrier is kind of a big issue. So that feature is really great for them to get more involved and, comment more on the forums and things like that.
Right. And the point I do want to hammer home there is the AI bit of it makes it so that it is real and applicable and useful. It's not just a generic translation, right? It is based on information of the models and our source material so that it's really, really relevant in texture. And I think that, the adoption and the boost of active Japanese developers kind of proves that. Because if it was just
Yeah.
like useless translation of sorts, it maybe would move the needle a little bit, but infusing AI to make it real, natural, and applicable makes it so that it's like, okay, it was written in Japanese to begin with, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the power of the platform can make it really useful.
Yeah. And speaking of AI, we were both in Vegas, and you would have noticed a lot of the sessions were AI heavy, very focused on AI, and there's always this talk about will AI kind of push low code aside? I'm interested to know kind of your personal views on that.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm not an expert here, but what I will say is I think, given how we're talking about it and thinking about it internally, I think it's actually an extension or an accelerant, right? Because we've kind of started in that track. Low code inherently is like an easy way to do traditional software development.
Yeah.
Now, if you apply AI to that, I think it just makes low code all that much easier, right? I don't think that it pushes it to the side. I just think it accelerates the domain and the applicability and accessibility of low code platforms. I just think it advances it a step further. I don't want to get more specific because I'd be talking out of turn, but
Yeah.
in my mind, right, just thinking about it generically, it's an accelerant really for anything that you're doing, even for low code software development. I just think it makes it that much easier. It can give you guidance as you're going about the work that you're doing. It can tell you kind of next best actions and next best steps. So, you keep the core that was there before and the original sentiment behind a platform like OutSystems, and then you just make it all that much better using AI, whether it's giving you prompts or ideas or suggestions. Wouldn't that be useful anyways?
Yeah.
When you're working in there and the visual kind of confines of OutSystems itself, if a prompt just popped up and said, hey, do X, Y, and Z next to make your solution better. That's the way I kind of think about it, is an accelerant, kind of a next level of the evolution of the platform.
Yeah. And it's great to see obviously OutSystems AI agent builder and other features kind of are coming out to kind of show people that the platform is definitely, adding that AI feature to assist and make ideally everything quicker and better for developers, but also end customers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's twofold, right? It's what you described with the capability of something like the AI agent builder or kind of that co-pilot experience to
Yeah.
make the developer or the user of the OutSystems platform do their work better. But it's also infusing the AI capabilities into the solutions that are being built so you can build AI experiences like the ones I've described. So it's really twofold, right? Making
Yeah.
the end user of the OutSystems platform better, faster, stronger, and then infusing the AI capabilities into the solutions that you can deliver so that you can have those AI chat experiences, or the translation engine that I described, or rules engine that is listening and looking at
Yeah.
AI models to make the predictions and the analytics that much better with the results that are produced by the app. So I think
Yeah.
we're covering it from both sides, and I feel like the future is bright in that sense.
Yeah. And as someone, you've obviously worked over different businesses, over your career, and not sure if you've had a conversation about this before, or if not, then just more kind of what would be your message to those people. But there's still people who are, in businesses who are skeptical about low code.
Yeah.
Have you had a conversation with someone before about something like this? Or if not, what would be your kind of message to those who kind of believe, your low code still kind of for kind of small internal apps?
Yeah, I've had some, and to be honest with you, I would position the question a little bit different. I don't, in my experience, again, just speaking from the
Yeah.
experience I've had and the conversation I've had, I don't know that it's skepticism as much as honestly like a lack of awareness, right?
Mm.
I don't think that people quite know the power, the capabilities of a platform like OutSystems or low code in
Yeah.
general. I honestly think it's less skepticism and more just a lack of awareness or a lack of opportunity, to have the conversations or see these things in practice. I'll give you an example. A partner that we worked with previously on some other consulting work, they they had maybe heard of OutSystems. They had certainly heard of OutSystems once they engaged with us. But once they got in and they were talking to us and understanding our ecosystem internally and the things that we had done and the solutions that we had built with OutSystems, their heads exploded, their eyes lit up.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah,
wow, we can do some of this stuff. We're trying to always do similar things within our own practice as we're working with other customers.
yeah,
We just never really thought about OutSystems as an option to deliver business solutions or overcome business challenges in these ways. And so I'm kind of rinsing and repeating things that I've said
yeah,
throughout the conversation, but I think if there was more awareness out in the environment for what OutSystems can do in terms of just solving business challenges, connecting applications, evolving and extending applications and technology practices in general, light bulbs would go off for more and more folks. And maybe that means you'd turn a skeptic into a believer,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
I more think it's like shining a light on the possibilities and making people aware of those possibilities. So, I think if I were engaged with a skeptic or a person who wasn't aware, I would deliver kind of the talk track that I'm describing here and go into more
yeah,
detail, like I've done with you, into some of the solutions that we've delivered with OutSystems and build that awareness so people can not be skeptical and be more aware. That's how I kind of think about it. I don't know what you think, but I do think if people are skeptical, they should talk to folks like us who are
yeah.
experienced and have seen it firsthand. And then also just kind of become more aware and practiced and think about what's possible with a platform like OutSystems.
Yeah, I agree. I think, from our experience as well, our advice is always, have you seen it? Have you seen it? Have you tried it? And in most cases, it's just kind of, no, no, they haven't, like even when we're speaking to, put businesses aside, when we're speaking to developers from traditional, you can download it for free, right? You
Right,
can download it, you can have a go at it. And that's
right,
kind of what we try to do to kind of get them to see, all the things that they kind of think there'll be limitations on, there really isn't. And I think it's the same thing for businesses. And I think also the advantage you have is when you are speaking to customers, you can put something together for them pretty fast to
right.
just show them kind of,
Yeah,
this
proof of
is this is a
concept.
sneak peek of what we can do for you.
Yeah, exactly. So to linger on it a little bit, and I was just thinking as you were mentioning what you were, maybe some of the skepticism exists with the more technical hands-on keyboard types of folks,
Yeah,
right? And I think there's like maybe a slightly different conversation, like more of what you
yeah,
described, like, hey, just try it, right? And it doesn't break some of the rules that you're used to,
yeah,
it doesn't make
yeah.
you, less of a technical, some of that
Mm, yeah,
conversation folks should have. But for folks like me in the position that I'm in, leading teams, thinking about strategy, architecture, point solutions and how those point
yeah,
solutions fit together to drive kind of a go-to-market or a back office motion, I honestly think skepticism would be low on the list of barrier to entry. I think it's,
yeah,
again, more of a lack of awareness because if you go back to the story that I described when OutSystems first came to me, I was
yeah,
I was a optimistic, enthusiastic, like, oh,
yeah,
you're telling me I can build something that quickly with that little amount of
yeah,
investment. Like, let's do it. Let's explore it, right? So, and
yeah,
I think that there would be a lot of people in a similar position.
yeah,
I just don't think that they have the exposure or they haven't had the right exposure to OutSystems so that the
yeah,
light are firing in the way that they did. And for me, and they have done for me, and they could for others, right? And so
yeah, yeah,
I just think that changing the conversation slightly for those folks to say, this is a tool that can help you solve business challenges around integration, data processing, the evolution of your apps. Wouldn't you want to be less dependent on the big monoliths that you have and be able to be nimble and infuse solutions really, really quickly? They're going to say yes. And then
mm,
the next sentence is, well, OutSystems can help you deliver on those solutions. And then they won't be skeptical, they won't be unaware, and they'll be excited. So that's
yeah,
like my sales pitch in a nutshell.
yeah. I like it. So good answer. Very different to the others I get. So great answer.
Yeah.
Um, and just as a final kind of question, you've obviously, rolled out a number of things, is there kind of anything you can share that you're kind of, looking forward to kind of put in place in the near future?
Yeah, I think we'll nurture and extend and enhance some of the wins that I described to you.
Yeah.
I think going further with AI is exciting for me. You know, making our reps, our sales reps, our marketers, even our accountants and you know financial analysts more successful with AI is something that excites me. I think that's big in terms of our strategy for how we'll continue to, you know, enhance our technology stack. You know, we're doing more of the use cases like the one I described to you with the
Yeah.
rules engine to make sure
Yeah.
that information in the hands of our users is
Yeah.
really useful. I'll give you an example. We're going to kind of refresh the way that we score our customer profiles and say like, you know, this type of account is one that we really want to go after for
Yeah.
different reasons, you know, company size, age, et cetera, et cetera. So we're
Yeah.
going to look for some cool solutions about how we kind of score the accounts and make
Yeah.
sure accounts are going after the right accounts
Yeah.
at the right times. So just, you know, kind of using OutSystems technology to, again, make our capabilities as a business and as an organization, as we're going to market and organizing ourselves. That's what's exciting for me. And I know I'm repeating myself, but I'll say it again. I've done that at other organizations with the typical tools, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The big ones and the smaller ones that bolt on to those or sit in between those to be able to work at OutSystems and drink my own champagne, our
Yeah.
own champagne.
Yeah.
That's what excites me, and that's what excites us. Because if we're doing it, we should be customer number one, and we are, right?
Yeah.
And we can go and deliver that message for our actual customers, and delighting and exciting and delivering to them is what it's all about at the end of the day. So to continue to be kind of a proving ground of that energy and then help us deliver that out into the market is that's what I'm excited for.
And I guess it's great, you know, even your sales guys will really appreciate something like that because it allows them to focus on quality leads, right? You know, they're not kind of chasing the wrong customer and spending their time on that.
Exactly. And actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because there is one more use case that I did
Yeah.
want to mention that's really cool and exciting, and it can be
Yeah, go for it. Yeah,
one last success story that I can
definitely.
leave you with. And you know, I'm sure you might have questions because it's a pretty cool one. But as our development reps are getting on discovery calls, you know, very, very common
Yeah.
practice out there in the universe, we're recording those discovery calls, and then we're taking the transcript and running them through an AI model to analyze them, break them apart into specific details so that we can create and qualify opportunities on the back of those discovery calls in an automated way, right?
Wow.
It's amazing. It's saving our reps time. It's saving our organization time. It's taking the transcripts, it's digesting them, running them through an AI model that we've given instructions to, and saying, hey, break out what was discussed here on this call, put it into an opportunity format that could then be qualified and passed along, and ideally move through that deal cycle. If you start with something that's as automated and is kind of framed up as that, it just makes the whole cycle that much easier, right? So there's another
Yeah,
really cool
that's
success
really
story
cool.
that we've delivered recently. So, you know, just to kind of close off, more use cases like that,
Yeah, yeah,
refining
yeah.
use cases that we have done and continuing to infuse OutSystems into our day-to-day. That's what's exciting for me. And, you know, I've had a lot of fun kind of talking shop with you.
No, amazing. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate
Yeah.
it. It's
Hope I
really
did a
cool
good
to
job of conveying kind
no,
of
no, it's
stuff.
great. And it's really great to obviously hear how OutSystems is using OutSystems, right? So
Right.
it's obviously I have conversations with developers how they've used it, customers how they've used it, people within OutSystems of how they're making customers kind of use it. But it's great to hear kind of how you're getting the best out of the platform and how it's helping your internal teams kind of do their job much better and kind of focus on, you know, the more important things, and these other things can be kind of done for them in the background, which is really cool to hear about.
Exactly. And the thing is, the solutions that we've delivered and the challenges that we've overcome, they exist everywhere, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We have our own unique spin on things, of course. But if you look at the big picture, OutSystems has helped my teams and thereby our teams internally at
Yeah.
OutSystems overcome challenges that everyone is trying to overcome, and will continue to do so because it's the right tool to use for those challenges. So I love having it in the toolkit. It's a lot of fun.
Amazing, amazing. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, Elliot. It was really good to talk to you.
Yeah,
I
it was
think
great.
since you're doing so many things, it'd be probably good to talk again in the future to see what else you've rolled out, because it's good to kind of hear these things, I think, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to be a repeat guest if you'd have me back, and
Definitely.
look forward to the opportunity. This is a lot of fun.
Amazing. Thanks, Elliot.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to today's episode, which is brought to you by iTrack. We are a leading staffing firm that solely specializes in supplying both contract and permanent low-code professionals to organizations globally. Navigating the niche landscape of the low-code market requires the best talent, and we recognize its critical importance for our clients. Whether you're a company looking to strengthen your team, an individual seeking the next career move, or someone entirely new to the world of low-code, we're here for you. Our extensive experience and in-depth market knowledge enables us to quickly pinpoint the ideal candidates while offering expert advice and support at every stage of your low-code journey. Reach out to us through our website or connect with me directly on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to assist you. Thank you once again for joining us today. We'll be back next week with another insightful episode. Until then, take care.